Okay, what's your name?
Sophie.
Sophie. And you live in Shanghai?
Yes.
And we want to know today, how much do you pay for rent in Shanghai?
8,000
8,000 yuan per month?
per month.
And how many bedrooms is your place?
One.
One bedroom.
Yeah.
Do you rent in Shanghai?
Yes, I do rent in Shanghai. Yeah.
And how much do you pay for your rent in Shanghai per week?
It's 12,000 a month
For a two-bedroom apartment in Shanghai?
2-bedroom apartment. Yes.
Do you rent in Shanghai?
Yeah.
How much do you pay per week for rent?
10,000
Per week or per month?
per month.
And how many bedrooms is your place?
Just one.
In America, they call themselves the land of the free, but how free can you truly be if when you walk out of your door, you have to worry about being robbed, being beat up, getting shot? In China, you don't have to worry about all those things. You are truly free to do whatever you want, walk about, free as a bird. I mean, look at this over here. It is almost 10 p.m. There's a group of breakdancing kids doing a little performance. Oh, they're pretty good. And over there, we've got a Huawei store selling cars. Not a sponsor, by the way, but now they owe me one big time for that free ad.
I don't trust most Americans' opinion on China. I lived in China for 3.5 years, and I can tell you the news does not paint the full picture of China. It shocked me how advanced China really is. They use mobile payments for everything. WeChat Pay, Alipay. People don't pull out credit cards any longer over there. They have high-speed rails that go just about everywhere. In Shanghai, over the past 30 years, has developed from being a countryside to being a full, blown-out city. We don't talk about this. Also, Americans don't understand how complex China's history is. There are 1.5 billion people in China, and they have a history that spans thousands of years. You can imagine having that level of history. Why they operate the way they do and react to things now is probably due to what happened in the past. For example, so many Americans ask me, why is China so strict on drugs? We're not like that in the US. Well, China had the first and second opium wars where Westerners brought opium and it completely trashed their economy. So looking at this history, we can see why China has such a strong stance on having drugs in the country. They don't want an inefficient population. And the way I think is we oftentimes ask, like, why is technology, like, why are our products not allowed to go into China? If I'm looking at history and I'm seeing all the different ways that Westerners have come over and completely China's economy, I'm like, if I'm trying to build up a city of a country of 1.5 billion people, most of which are in rural populations, how are you going to have American technology come over and completely overtake their country? My whole thing is when we look at China, we have to understand the full picture. It can't be a comparative game with what does the US do and oh, China should do the same thing. We are very different countries. We have very different histories, and we have to understand that when we go to make a perspective, which is why
You guys may asking about working in China. I mean, how do students earn money in China? So, working in China as an international student is a whole lot of different process. It's a different process, a whole lot of different procedures that you have to go through. And China has a very strict law to work. So, if you work illegally, you might face deportation. So if you have the intention to come to China to study and you don't have a good financial backings, you don't have a sponsor, you apply for Vodafone scholarship. There are a lot of Vodafone scholarship in China, including the CSE scholarship for international students. But this is just an advice to those of you that want to come to China. Just a message to all African students that want to come to China to study. So here's the thing, China has a very different and distinct system than that of Africa. So being an international student in China is not just an easy thing. So if you were given an X1 or X2 visa to come to China, especially the X1 visa, because that is for master's, bachelor, and PhD students, so you are not allowed to engage in anything contrary to that visa. That is a study visa.
In China, we are living in 2050. Let me show you why. Most of big shopping malls in China are quite empty, but where do people really go for shopping? When I was window shopping, I realized that most of the shopkeepers were selling their products online through live stream. Live stream shopping first originated in China and now has over 524 million live streamers and generated an estimated amount of 700 billion USD only in 2023. Using virtual live streamers is a way for retailers to differentiate themselves from others, as well as reduce the cost of hiring a famous influencer. Real-time interaction between buyers and sellers, Q&A sessions, immediate feedback, bargain, and get discount is what makes this new marketing technique quite popular among the Chinese customers. Welcome to the future of e-commerce, everyone.